the private sector was going to be able to do this without public assistance, it would have happened already. That's the reason there's public assistance in this project, because the private market at this location with this building, its shell and environmental costs simply cannot be supported entirely by the private sector. And if it was easy, it would have been done, and many have tried, and Mr. White will tell you all about the other tries to get this deal done. But the bottom line is, it would have been done if it was easy, and it's not easy, and it's taken this confluence of events to get to this point at this time.
In order to get the historic tax credits, which were an important part of the financing for the project, they needed to meet the Secretary's standards. Windows are a really important element. That's usually the trickiest element in a rehab project, because it's a little detail. It may seem like a little detail, but when you multiply it out 1,600 times, it can have a huge effect. Pretty much you're always going to have surprises along the way. So being able to get some money back in the forms of a tax credit helps to compensate for some of those surprises, and it also helps to pay for the differential. If the developer had gone in and just gotten off-the-shelf windows, they would have been a lot cheaper than the ones that were put in.
The condos are privately financed by Sherman Associates with a private construction loan, and that equity comes back when the buyers buy these units, so it's significant risk.
We needed the housing component to absorb a significant part of the whole overall project, and so it was critical. We couldn't just build out the building one floor at a time, because we had to provide elevators and roofing and heating and cooling systems and electrical systems and parking lot and ramps all on the front end, and we couldn't make that significant investment without knowing where the revenue was going to come from.
Even with all the equity and the debt on the project, we still had about a $13 million gap, of which we were raising grants and deferred soft second loans, and those came from a variety of different sources, including the City of Minneapolis, CPED Affordable Housing Trust Fund, CPED NRP funds, Empowerment Zone funds. The Minnesota Housing Finance Agency contributed significantly to our funding gap with their challenge funds, the Family Housing Fund. Hennepin County contributed with transit-oriented development funds, as well as their affordable housing incentive funds. And I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, because there were quite a few. Met Council, how could I forget Met Council? They've been enormous in every component of this project, and I see their bus depots or their bus transit stations are almost finished, and they look great. And they also contributed to the rental component and the for sale component.
We sit now on the riverfront, which is a classic example of a 35-year public-private investment, which now is robust in private investment. There's little or no public dollars that have been necessary in the last few years to achieve a very high leverage of private to public investment.